Hey, 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 Ritual Madness Podcast, episode 159. And you do me a favor, check out ritualmadnesspodcast.com. On the right side, you'll be able to connect with us on a plethora of links. iTunes and Stitcher, both podcast applications. One is for iTunes, obviously, and the other is for both. Stitcher is for both. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that other bullshit. I'm way behind on all my videos, so you just be patient, folks, and we'll get you caught up shortly. Do me a favor and download the Listen to My Radio app, LISTEN, the number 2, My Radio, and search Ritual Madness Podcast. Bookmark it. Every time you want to check out our station, you'll be able to do so. And when we have live podcasts as well, you can connect with us and hang out and chit-chat and bullshit with us. You know, it'll be a good time. If you shop Amazon, do me a favor and click that Amazon link, bookmark it as your own. Every time you buy something off of Amazon, it kicks it back a couple pennies back to us to keep things going. Right below there's a little donation link. Please click the donation link and donate some stuff if you would, please. That'd be great. Keep this place going, keep everything rocking, and so on and so forth. See, we got some stuff. Do me a favor, check out dotwpod.com. There's a couple fellas that I call brothers in broadcasting here. Nate and Gene over there at DOTW Pod. Very cool podcast supporting indie music and all kinds of good stuff. They get into great conversations on that podcast. It's super fun. Also, check out KFAI's Fresh Air Radio's Root of All Evil show on Sunday mornings, I guess it would be. Saturday evening, 1 a.m., so it'd be Sunday technically, but you know what I'm saying. Check out Ritual, or the Root of All Evil. See, 5 years, I'm still not any good at this. Do me a favor, Monthly Madness at Lee's Liquor Lounge. We do a show once a month at Lee's Liquor Lounge. This month it's going to be June 30th, 8 p.m. Start, $7 cover, 21 plus. $2 Jack and Cokes, $3 PBR Tallboys. It is Cy Mothwa's CD release party. That is Hate Beast, Kunanoon, Cy Mothwa, Deep Haven, and Zenith Waves. Sponsored by Zero Budget Records, Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective. There'll also be $300 in tattoo gift cards as well. Metal Soda and a couple other folks here. We're going to be rocking out on the 30th of June. Come check us out. Also, the Midsummer Nightmare at Club Underground on July 14th and 15th. That's going to be a really good show. Again, that's at the Club Underground. Cold Colors, Beast Face, Outside the Murder Krog, Koboloi, the Omega Sequence, Ghost Hook, Echoes of the Fallen, Cymothwa again, Blood War, Discunt, and Hex Vortices. Come check that out as well. And like I said, thank you for tuning in, hanging out with us tonight. Episode 159. We're doing some drone talk here tonight. I'm super excited about this. If you guys have listened to this podcast at all, you know, like right around November of last year, I picked up a Phantom, a DJI Phantom, Phantom 3 Standard, and I kind of fell in love with it. Yeah, it's weak. Yeah. Well, actually, the first one that I got was a Hubsan Desire, and I crashed it and busted a bunch of shit, and you know, Kyle knows what it's all about. So we've got Kyle and Josh with us tonight. Kyle, what's the name of your company that you do? It's Superior Aerial
Solutions.
Okay. And now you started a new company as well, or you're starting to get one off the ground? Yeah, you're trying to get everything.
Both of us together. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
QuadStyle RC.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I mean, I met Kyle through crashing my drone and contacting some guy online, and he was like, call this guy, he'll help you out. I got a hold of Kyle, and Kyle was super cool and took care of me. I brought my drone down to you, 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, probably.
And we started,
$1,000 later.
Yeah, right. Well, I wasn't
Not quite that
no,
bad.
he took care of me, you know, he took care of me right away, and we hit it off real good. And, you know, it's funny because we started communicating, and like, you know, I'd say, hey, do you got these parts? And, you know, hey, do you got this? And he's like, you know, don't tell me you fucking crashed that thing again. You know what I mean? So it's been super amazing for me. I'm fully into this hobby. I really dig it. And Kyle donated a bunch of parts, and we kind of are working things out of putting a racer together as well. I was blown away because when I went to your house, those were the first 2 I saw up in the corner. I was like, how fast do they go? What do they do? You know? And you're like, they crash. You crash them fuckers fast. You know?
Do, and it's amazing. You know, everything just seems to break right away too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be a real pain.
Before you even fly it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, man. So, yeah, I started getting into this hobby, and it's been just insane addictive, and just I bought fucking a ton of drones so far.
It's addictive.
Crashed a bunch. That Hubson that I bought right away, I took it right out here. You know, I watched a ton of YouTube videos on it,
Yeah.
and didn't get my signals up before I took off. I was just excited to get it in the air, and I like got this cheap case from work and fucking cut out all this shit for it. Took me like an hour to cut the case out, and then I took it outside, and it took me about 15 minutes to lose that fucker up over the buildings next
That's
door.
funny.
Yeah, it was gone. It just took off on me, you know.
That's pretty much what happened to me. This past Christmas, it hasn't even been that long since I've been doing it, but it's like it just grabbed me by the balls, you know, and I'm in it. But she bought me a Cyma X8W, and I thought it was the coolest thing because it's like the same size as the Phantom, and it would fly, it would do a little flip, you push the button, I'm like, hell yeah, it's got a little camera on it, and I was flying that thing for like a month, and I had a battery charged, and I had learned, you know, don't keep your lipos charged for long, you're going to fuck them up, you know, and so I'm like, oh, I'm going to burn this pack down quick. And it was dark out, and I could see the lights, and I brought her up, and brought it back kind of down, and then I went, it's like it was real windy, and it pulled it up, and then I lost signal to my radio, and I just watched this thing fucking fly away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I spent like a month looking for this thing. Like, oh, it's horrible.
And you never found it?
No, never found it. I think it's in a herd of very tall pine trees.
Yeah.
And it's black. I'll never find it.
That's hilarious. I
haven't lost one yet.
Really?
Not
you better
yet.
knock on wood,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
I will, I'm sure, eventually.
Hell yeah. So, you know, we kind of hooked up and have been flying together quite a bit, and you know, and you've helped me out figure things out with the drone and getting everything. Now, how long have you guys? I'm sorry. Let's introduce you first. Kyle, give him the voice first. Yeah, you're
Hey,
Kyle.
what's up?
Okay, you're Josh. Make sure they know who you are with the voice.
It's happening.
So, how long have you guys been doing this stuff? Like, what was the time frame? Like, how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
I mean, drones-wise, probably 4 to 5 years, basically, since they kind of came out.
Sure.
And I was doing RC airplanes before that, and then I kind of just were like, oh, let's try and build. You know, we saw a video of somebody make a DIY out of wood, because this was before really quads were even a thing.
Right.
And so then we built one, flew it and crashed it right away, and then from then on we were hooked and, you know, just started getting different motors and this and that, and then the Phantoms came out, and then I got that, and, you know, same thing, you just get the bug and start getting all sorts of different stuff, and you obviously saw it, well, both of you have seen my hobby room, and
oh yeah.
love that
room.
stuff in there.
Yeah,
so
I don't want to leave.
On Giraffe, when I walked into his house and I looked, I was going, whoa, 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 just all over the place, man.
I was shocked. I just lived a couple houses away, and I had met him. I had my fat sharks on, and there's this little kind of field where they had ripped a house out of, and I was gonna fly, and this dude stops in this truck I've seen parked a million times, and didn't know the guy, and he's like, "Hey, what you doing?" And I walk over and I see he's got the DJI case, and so we wrap out, and you know, then we get to hanging out. And when I finally went into his house, saw his shop, his hobby room there, I was like, yeah, this is what I fucking need right here.
Right.
Like, I need to pimp my shit out.
I like it.
Yeah.
But I do repairs too, so that, you know, I got a lot of extra parts and stuff like that, and, you know, that's kind of a side deal that I do, is doing the repairs.
Sure.
And I don't know. Could be busier, but you know, it's a good side job.
Sure. Well, so what do you guys do for work? You know, outside of the hobby, what
I'm a carpenter.
Oh,
have
nice.
my own construction company, remodeling, general contracting, pretty much. You know, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Tile work right now. I'm just getting my butt kicked with this tile, but
It looks great
it
though,
looks
dude.
awesome.
You've been sending pictures to me, and I'm like, holy fuck, man, you got.
It's
it's
nice.
a beast.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Looks good. I work for a corporate company, but
Sure.
I work for Centerpoint. I'm a natural gas guy.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I do emergency response, anything big, small, emergency hits, like big companies.
Sure.
I think last year they shut down one of the major freeways, and my crew wasn't involved in that, but that's like what we would do.
Sure.
We'd show up, fix it, try to protect
Nice.
people.
Right.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, so it sounds like that you guys are you know able to fund this expensive hobby. And,
My wife would tell you differently.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everybody's wife would tell you differently.
Yeah.
So I did an interview on Channel 4 News with Brandon, one of Kyle's buddies. Well, he works at one of the local hobby shops, and he's the drone guy there. Very cool cat. And I've flown with him and Kyle a few times. And Brandon asked me to come over and do an interview on Channel 4, and I was super nervous. And you said, hey, be careful, because they could be looking for a story. There could be some people trying to set you up to to fuck with the hobby, man. So we were kind of on our toes right away, but it was. My wife saw the thing, and I exaggerated. I said I had 5, and I've only got 3 that
I heard that
I fly,
I was like, oh, you're busted.
Yeah, and she fucking snapped. She's like, you got 5 drones? Like,
I keep them at work.
Dude, she straight snapped.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
And I just sold one to get my torrent, you know what I mean? So,
which is badass.
Yeah.
Where are you keeping this thing?
Exactly, dude.
Yeah. Where are these at?
We were talking that one time when you said your lady went in and started counting or something.
Yeah.
She didn't know exactly.
Yeah,
you had so many different
count.
parts and pieces everywhere.
She was counting them.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's like, do you know how many you have? I'm like, I'm not sure. She's like, 14. And I'm like, are you sure
That
that's all of them? Yeah. Are you sure?
Wow.
Yeah, so hopefully our ladies don't listen to this shit, because
yeah, I know. I don't want to say some things here,
right.
and then I got to answer for this.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys seem like you're head deep in the fucking hobby and doing things.
Yeah.
Now, what was your first bird? What was the first one that you guys flew on?
Mine was that Cyma XAW, and my brother had just gotten a just out of nowhere. His girlfriend did the same thing, but she bought him a Phantom Stam 3 for Christmas. Yeah. So we both got. I know.
Yeah.
Well,
no, they're actually for
$400
or whatever they are. They're amazing.
Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, so we both had those at the same time, and I was actually going to gut the Cyma because I had watched some YouTube videos about guys putting brushless motors, different flight controllers, and I'm like, oh yeah, like this sounds cool to me. And I talked to some guys, and they're like, why would you waste that money? Why don't you just go buy a drone for what it's going to cost you to do? And I'm like, well, what the fuck is that supposed to mean, you know? And I started getting more into it, watching all kinds of YouTube videos, and I mean, literally, it was like drones 24/7 after that. And yeah, I was hooked, and that's why I got into like the high performance stuff. And I had bought a little Hubsan X 107, I don't know, a little tiny guy, just a little Hubsan, and that thing was sweet. I just fly around my house, and it was still cold out and shit. So yeah, that was my first, and my second. And now I've got 2 Chameleons and a D-Quad and a Martian 2, which is a clone of the Alien, which I don't promote people to go out and buy at all.
What, clones?
Yeah, the clones for 1, and then 2, the Martian 2.
I've heard bad things, reviews on it.
Yeah, the way the carbon's designed, you're constantly cracking top plates because of the battery mounting, and if the bolts come loose at all, it also helps crack it.
Shifts a lot on either side.
It does, yeah. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's a trainer, high performance trainer is what I would say it is. But yeah, I think people need to be getting their cut. They're coming up with the designs in this industry. Now that I'm spending more time in it, you know, I'm realizing, you know, that $25 frame to me at the time was an awesome buy, but now I think, oh shit, I bought 3 of them now, which is...
There's a reason why. They don't make them to withstand as well.
Exactly, yeah. You know, for the price I paid for the 3, I pretty much had enough to buy a Chameleon after that, so it's like, if I would have just not went that route, but you don't always know that getting in. Some of the shit you don't know.
And you don't know if you're going to be into it either.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so you don't want to spend $500 or $600 right on the first one and then crash it and be done.
Exactly.
You know? So, but yeah, I mean, I would, I guess, recommend buying a little better quality one too, you know, than
at least the frame.
Cheap, yeah.
Frame, at least the frame.
You know,
I think internal components, you can fiddle with. You can try some cheaper transmitters and whatever, and that, but you definitely just buy a nice frame off the bat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure. That's probably the way to go, man. You know, I was always curious about that frame because I looked at that frame a whole bunch, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I started seeing reviews about it, and that it just had problems.
Yeah.
Like not very well made, not you know.
Well, all you see is like all the professional pilots, you know, basically the guys that are notoriety from doing this, that they're all finding aliens and stuff, and so you're like, yeah, alien. Then you look at the price of it, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, 120.
130. It's basically ends up being like $130 or something like that for shipping, and
Just for the frame. That's
yeah,
it.
yep, just the frame.
But
Yeah.
it's strong. I mean,
It
and
is,
They,
it's
and
strong.
they stand by them usually.
Right.
Those companies stand by their frames. So
Yeah.
if something happens, you know, they'll warranty it or replace
Well,
it or get you parts. sometimes.
Armington, the Chameleon, it's relatively new, but that is the first like genuinely 100% warranted frame out
Okay.
there. You break that thing, it doesn't matter if you found it in your friend's grandma's fucking attic and it was 2 years old and it had a broken arm. You just send that shit in, they'll
Nice.
That's
That's
awesome.
very
send it
cool.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like the low profile look on that frame. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is. They designed it to be for inertia,
Right.
like to bring down that
Yeah.
center of gravity, so it's better for the freestyle with your inertia.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what we're gonna carry. We're gonna carry the Chameleon,
Yeah.
just a 5-inch. I think some people like 6-inch, but I think the 6-inch props are getting harder to find. So,
Okay.
just gonna stay away from that.
Sure.
And then so 5-inch Chameleon, and then 5-inch D-Quad Obsession.
Yeah.
They all have I call them hybrid frames because they integrate the aluminum,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
And they
is
look
just
sweet.
super durable.
Right.
Yeah, and they look sweet.
They
Yeah,
look
they're
really
sexy,
cool.
man.
Yeah, they're
Fucking
really
super
cool.
sexy.
Yeah.
They have different lines than just the straight X quads, you know what I mean, with the long frames on them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're different, you know, the ZMR or whatever.
Right.
You know, that alien style or...
Yeah, that QAV, KZMR,
QAV,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. So you've been repairing and building and doing stuff for quite a long time. Now you do a lot of your own building stuff now. That's what you're fully into that stuff.
Yeah, I'm just totally, I mean, like, I wouldn't even say I'm that good of a pilot.
Sure.
Really. I mean, I'm crashing still just about every pack, but
I've seen them crash on a roof.
we're not going to talk about whose roof it was. I might get a ticket for that one.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we're fine. He's got a monitor hooked up to my feed, and I'm ripping around. I'm doing pretty good. I got the new Tyrannus special edition with the Hall gimbals, Hall
Yeah.
sensor gimbals, and
Yeah.
these things are just dialed in. And I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling it. And he's like, oh, that'd be sweet if you power loop that skywalk. And I'm like, where is it? And I see it. I went and ripped that thing, and I don't know what I was doing. Next thing I know, I'm on the roof and just laying there. So took a couple days in a ladder and some sprinklers to get it done.
Yeah, but we got her.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. At least you were able to get it back.
I know.
Yeah.
I know the situation and how sketchy it was.
It's like
you
the
know?
second flight after repairs and getting
That-
it dialed in.
Same day, earlier that day, I had actually some of the programming in my ESCs had goofed up for some reason. It turned one of the motors the wrong direction. I was holding it. I was going to hand launch it,
Yeah.
and it spun as it would, like, you know, I call it the frickin' gator roll, you know,
Right.
and it diced my
hold, yeah.
finger open. Yeah, I probably could have got like 5-6 stitches, but
Hey.
I just glued that sucker shut for a couple of weeks. And
Right.
it was
All are
nasty.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bad day.
Well, that's pretty much what they made that super glue
Super glue
for,
for,
yeah.
anyways, didn't they?
Exactly.
So yeah.
Put on the edge of your carbon and cover your cut.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely, man. Well, fucking A, that's good. I think we got a good start. We should take a listen to some tunes. I've got a bunch of different questions that I want to ask you guys, and just kind of give people an idea of what where they should start maybe, and how they should start getting into things. I know that it's such a weird question, when you want to get into this thing. I had really no one to ask those to.
Yeah.
And I like even asking, I know a shitload of people on Facebook. I know a shitload of people in real life too, but just being able to get on social media and start asking people about it, and going on YouTube and asking people about it, or just seeing trial and error of what everybody else has done. But it's so difficult to really pinpoint that I've seen so far. Like, the freestyle guys will say, if you want to get into it, start getting the high performance stuff.
Right.
Don't
They're
even
not really sharing their heads.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all that,
yeah. And I mean, even just to begin with, you know what I mean? Like, I had no idea. I just saw a friend of mine flying his Hubsan on Facebook, and I was like, dude, what did you buy? What is that?
Yeah.
And then he told me, and I went and started looking at that, and he told me this Hubsan would probably be pretty good for you. It's not a great camera, but getting the idea of how to fly it with GPS, and
What the
without,
sticks feel like, and, yep.
and So we'll listen to some tunes and we'll come back and we'll kind of chit chat about that stuff.
Sweet.
We got a lot
Looking
of stuff.
forward to it.
We've got some Outcasts coming up. Some get out and get something. A little Mastodon, some Rage Against the Machine, and a little Tupac. So stick around, folks, and we'll be back. Hey, thanks for sticking around. You're listening to Ritual Madness Podcast, episode 159, hanging out with the fellas, talking about some drone stuff. I wanted to say that, we were kind of talking off the air about how important it is. I mean, other than Kyle's been into it a lot longer than Josh and I, but we're talking about being new to this hobby and how important it is to get the information correct and get the right information for you to start flying, and what LOS is and what FPV is, and and what GPS is, and what style of drone you want to start flying with. I think that's really important. And we were talking about YouTube videos and these professional drone pilots out there flying and doing crazy stuff because they can. They're experienced. They've been flying a long time. They're able to control these drones, and a lot of people think that they buy this little Hubsan X4 or whatever it is, or just an Inductrix for that matter, or a Tiny Whoop or something, and you're flying in the house or you're flying it around your cats and dogs, and then you get into a high performance drone or a Phantom or something, with a camera on it, and you want to go really high and you want to do all this cool shit. But a lot of people, I think, miss the fact that these things are dangerous. These things can hurt you. You go from brushed motors to where you could stick your finger right in there and you might get a little nick, but the motor's going to stop. When you get brushless motors, they're not really going to stop that. They've got that much more resistance to them, and they're going to cut you. I mean, you were just talking about getting cut with
I gashed open.
Yeah,
I did.
What about your leg?
Yesterday, teaching my brother how to just try and hover with a high performance drone, and he doesn't realize how micro movements it takes. And he flew that thing right into my leg. I got three gashes again in 1 week.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's super dangerous, folks. If you're listening to this podcast, I mean, really, what the gist of it is I'm super new at it as well, and I'm learning as I'm going. But I'm benefiting from as many people that I'm meeting that are flying, and getting to see them flying, getting to see their habits, and I'm able to ask them questions directly and get to see it firsthand, to where a lot of people, I mean, including myself, I've watched so many damn drone videos, like non-stop drone videos once you get started, and you can only understand so much without it being right in front of you and being able to trial and error that stuff yourself
until you go through the motion.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you guys, what would you say to someone who's looking to start in the hobby? What drones maybe would you suggest to them? What would you tell them from the very get-go?
I guess depends on what they want to do with it.
That's it. I mean, I changed too right from the beginning. I wanted
what are my options if I'm a beginner? I'm a noob. I'm somebody that's trying to figure it out. What are my options? I want to fly a drone. What do you fucking tell them?
What's your budget?
Right.
I guess because you can go a couple $100 to $10,000 depending on
or
under
more.
$100
if you really want to just try it out.
Sure. Fly something in the house, or something under $100, probably not gonna go outside and handle wind at all.
Sure.
But you get the idea of flying in the house, and
right.
The stick time.
Yeah, if you like it,
you get to understand how, like you said, teaching your brother how to hover.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to do, especially line of sight.
In acro.
Right.
And if you got a racer or a high performance, it's just like you said, the micro movements. It's going to be a lot more on a faster, more high performance drone than a little tiny $80 drone.
Right.
With brushed motors.
Sure.
Whether you floor the sticks or not, it's not probably going to hurt very much. Where the racing drone, you floor the sticks, it's going to
smash
hit
into
you
the ceiling
or whatever, cut you or do some major damage.
Cut the nose off your dog.
As far as picking goes, though, I mean, I flip-flopped real fast. Like I was saying before, I went from the Cyma to wanting to deck it out with brushless motors to actually buying a Phantom,
right,
returning it a week later because I found freestyle and drone racing.
Right.
So it's all your budget, and then figuring out what your options are
Sure.
as far as if you're into aerial,
Yeah.
if you're into just flying around the house, you know, maybe go with a whoop, you know, things like that, or you go into the race or freestyle scene.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, you know, for the folks who don't know the terminology that they're actually using, that you're really, you know, starting out flat out. You know, there's you know, you're doing some camera drones, which would be, you know, the obviously the DJI stuff where
Yeah.
they've got the high end cameras, where, you know, scaled cameras, you know, 1080p, and then they go up from there. And I think the Hubsons start at like 720.
720.
720.
Yeah,
and they're-
probably. I
and
think
they're
that
fixed.
X4 is, yeah.
And they're fixed cameras, which are, you know, and you can, some of them have apps that you can see what you're looking at. Some you just have the card and you're just up there kind of guessing the line of sight of
Yeah.
where you're going to go. Some have screens built into the controllers themselves, and you kind of have to know which way you want to go. If you want to do some cool aerial stuff, which you can get very high up, and use the camera and get good shots, good, you know, over a scenic shot, you know, the DJI, that kind of stuff. And then you get into, you know, the racers and things like that, or the tiny whoop, which is like a very small FPV style one, which is it's a first person view where you have a set of goggles on your head and you're looking through there. It feels like you're flying in the cockpit of a plane and cruising around, which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's what pulled me in.
Yeah.
The fact that, like,
It's like
see,
you're riding on
yeah.
it, almost like a video game, or
Yeah,
you know, you're
right.
in the cockpit.
Yeah.
It's badass.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's super addictive, and
Yep.
it's a fucking blast.
Adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it really is, man. You know, either standing up or sitting down, I find myself cocking my head one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or my feet are like on my tiptoes. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, oh.
Or you actually
here we go.
spin, like
Yeah.
you're standing in the same spot. Next thing you know, you're 180 degrees, and you don't even know why. You're like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Yeah. So I mean, when I started, I went for the lower end, and I tried to tell a buddy of mine. So I took him out. He followed me to a field over in St. Paul, and I flew the Phantom, and I was just telling him what it does, showing him what to, you know, this is this and this and that. And then within a couple days, he contacted me and was like, which direction should I go? And I asked him, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go fast? Do you want to fucking, you know, take pictures? What do you want to do?
Flip,
And I said, I sent him, you know, things that I started with and other things that I saw that were cool. Then it's on him, you know, sent him reviews of certain stuff. And then I showed him Mavic. And from the very get-go, you know, like.
So you have a Mavic?
I do not have a Mavic.
Oh, you just showed it to him.
No, I just showed him what it
Yeah.
did, and
Okay.
this is, dude, a quarter of the size of the fucking giant thing I have.
And they're amazing.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
crazy, and you know, like a week or two later, he's like, well, I bought this, and he sends me the same picture that I sent
Yeah.
him.
Nice.
You know, and I go, dude, you're crazy. I'm like, well, I know a guy who fixes shit.
You're
You know, really, yeah.
still flying it
Yeah,
now?
man, as far
Yeah.
as I know. He works a
Sweet.
lot, so he doesn't get
Okay.
a lot of stick time, but
You've talked to him now, he's
again,
flying
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and he likes it.
Well,
Yeah.
they've got the goggles for those now too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's
Yeah.
that's what's crazy about it, man. Is
Right.
that, you know, and I think I told him flat out is that I think that's an expensive buy to jump in right away when you've never had any stick time and you're gonna crash the fucker.
Yeah.
But is he looking to race or just kind of fly it around? You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If he's just looking to fly
Yeah.
it every weekend and have some fun, take some pictures,
Sure.
you know,
Get
the
some
Mavic kind of
cool,
gets the
yeah.
best of both worlds. Where
I'm hoping
You
that
know.
he gets sick of it real quick and then he wants to give it to me for cheap.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Half the price. Yep.
You know, oh, dude,
then
that
you can
thing's
crash
huge,
it
dude.
and I'll
Yeah.
fix it for
Yeah,
you.
there you go. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I don't think it's worth that much. You've flown it already, so
Yeah.
So now you guys, did you guys both start line of sight?
yes.
Well, yeah.
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 Well, the Simo was first-person view, but I mean that camera was garbage.
But if
Yeah.
that was so, that was that on the
It synced
controller
into
or
my phone,
Okay.
and then my phone clipped into the transmitter.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And when I started, they didn't really have. I mean, they didn't have well, they had obviously tablets, but they didn't have any apps that worked with drone. You know, even
Sure.
like the DJI Phantom 2 was when I started. The Phantom 1 was out, and that literally you put a GoPro on there, no gimbal, and you
Right.
take off, and what you record is what you record, and
Right.
it's line of sight, and that's it.
Wow.
And then a couple of years later, then the app was included into that, and you can do record and all that from the app and see what you're filming, and so it's just crazy.
Sure.
A buddy of mine bought Phantom 2 when they first came out, and he took a loan out to get this thing because this thing was expensive, but
Yeah,
he
like
had to have
$1,000
it.
or
I think he paid because he bought, you know, a bunch of extra batteries and
Yeah.
he bought all the accessories. You know, he was going to get his Part 107, so
Yeah.
he was commercially,
Yeah.
you know,
Ready
allowed
to
to fly
rock,
for
yeah.
money, and he, you know, was going to promote this and he was going to make money doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he broke it a couple times, paid a bunch of money to get it fixed, and now you can't even give the thing away for $300,
Exactly.
and he's still paying off this money.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
how fast that this has evolved.
Sure.
yeah, and
And,
then
and it just keeps going.
it's gonna probably keep
yeah.
going. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's very-
Technology, man. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, you could buy a sweet MacBook, you know, or something, in 2 months later, the next best thing's out. You know,
Oh, yeah.
i7, i5, i7,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
all this other shit. You know,
Yeah.
it's insane.
yeah, it's all fast.
Now with you guys dabbling in both ends of it, where you're building and repairing drones, you guys see how fast that goes. I mean, the you know, all the boards and everything changing, and all the flight controllers and the
Oh,
speed
yeah.
controllers and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's just moving at light speed, and from even what I see, and you guys are really deep into it. You know, what do you think is going to be the make all or break all for these as far as regulations right now? I mean, because they kind of FAA lifted a lot off of us
For
as
the
far as
hobbyist, yeah.
yeah
for registration.
yeah yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's going to be where you can fly and where you can't.
Sure.
You know, it is going to be restricted by the cities now, or where you can, you know, like
Right.
Minneapolis parks, technically, according to the whatever, you're not supposed to fly in Minneapolis parks
Right.
anywhere.
Right.
So I don't, you know, people still do it. I've heard people be stopped by the cops and say you can't fly here, and they, you know, leave.
That's it, right.
So
I always try to search on my phone. If I'm in a county or a town or something,
Yeah.
I try to see if I can find some sort of
yeah,
county, what would you call it? A
Ordinance.
ban ordinance, county
Yeah.
ordinance,
Yeah.
city ordinance. I try to search them just because I don't want to get in any
Oh,
sort of
exactly.
trouble. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to have a good time.
exactly. And I think that's most of the people are just looking to go out and have a good time.
Right.
They're not out to try and like, oh, I'm gonna go fly in the park because it's illegal. You know, they just want to go out and have a good time and find some place to fly.
Find all the
And,
hot naked
No,
chicks.
yes, I was just gonna say the worst is
Yeah.
the neighbor that's like, you better not be looking at my windows.
Right.
My drone
Yeah.
goes 100 miles an hour. I
Right.
think I'm gonna have a pretty hard time looking in your
Yeah.
window.
yeah,
Naked.
exactly. Yep.
Naked.
Yep.
Flippity
Even,
naked.
even the Phantoms with the 4K cameras. I mean, you have to be literally at the window in order to see in, or you know, be able to see what's in there, or in, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous how people are like,
If
oh,
you
you're
can see them,
spying
they
on
just-
me.
I think
Yeah.
that a lot of people think that those cameras are like a handheld
Yeah, a
camera,
DSLR or something,
Yeah,
with a
where you-
zoom lens on it,
yeah,
and,
which
you know,
it doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
for
They-
you to get to see that close
Yeah.
into somebody's place, you're gonna hit your props
So,
on their window.
The,
Pretty much, yeah.
the DJI now makes zoom cameras, but you know they're like $30,000 cameras.
Right.
So I mean, the average person to go spy on somebody, they're not going to be, you know, having a $30,000 camera to go spy on you.
Right.
You know.
I mean,
It's just not
even
realistic.
being involved in the hobby since November, I've had 20 people so far say, "Oh, well, you go spying in people's windows." It's like, fuck
Yeah.
no, dude. Would you
I
want
hear it
somebody
constantly.
spying in
And
your
can you,
fucking window?
you know, have you ever flown this silently? I mean, they're pretty loud.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you're gonna just
Yeah.
sneak up on somebody.
Hold on, dude. I gotta flip it to
Silent
mode.
mode, yeah.
It's stealth mode.
Yeah.
I'm on spy mode right now.
Yeah. You can't hear it. It's just
Yeah.
sitting at your feet, dude. You see it? Just went by. You can't even hear it.
What do they call it? They call it ninja drone.
Yeah.
The ninja drone.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You know, people automatically go to bad places when they think
Oh,
of,
yeah.
of this
Yeah.
stuff, and it's
sad.
yeah, it sucks because you know we're having fun with it, man, and I want to enjoy this as much as I possibly can, you know.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's, I mean, you guys are trying to start a business and get involved in it. You've had a business for a while, and you know, repairs and
Yeah.
taking photos and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's there's so many different avenues that you can go nowadays, and there, you know, I see
Oh, yeah.
you know, stuff on Facebook where they have drone courses and, you know, teaching people how to fly now.
Yeah, there's the FPV Academy, like, you know, a lot of it's YouTube based and stuff, which thank God for, because
Right.
as I call YouTube University. I
Right.
mean, if I don't know
Yeah.
how to do it, I look on YouTube to figure it out,
For sure.
regard if it's fixing my car or
Right,
whatever.
right.
So, thankful for YouTube,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff to learn how to do this stuff, and we're pretty much focusing on continuing the DJI repair, and then also primarily just the mini quad high performance freestyle racing style drones.
Sure.
And then I think
Some hydro dipping, a little bit of
hydro dipping and 3D printing.
3D printings, yep.
Yep, and then hopefully we'll be able to get some tutorial videos up and stuff for people. I know there's plenty of
videos.
build videos.
Yeah, we're hoping to do that soon.
Absolutely, more the merrier. I feel. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
right.
there's some already out there, obviously, but more the merrier.
Yeah.
I just think that this area, it's cold 6 months out of the year,
Right.
and that's a bummer for us to be in this hobby. But it doesn't stop me from wanting to do it or be in it.
Yeah.
So. And then the other thing is that there really isn't too many options for us to get stuff locally.
Yeah.
Or even talk to people locally, really. I mean, there's a couple Facebook pages, which they're good too.
And there is 2 local hobby shops, but the one is, Hub Hobby, yeah, they're a great shop. I bought in a lot of stuff from them, but they're a toy hobby store / they have a drone department, an RC car department, but as far as like FPV racing and the racing drones, they don't have, as far as in stock, they don't really have anything.
Or the new stuff.
Yeah, or the new stuff.
Really, you kind of need to be
if
pushing.
you want to, if you want to compete, know, and keep up with things, and a lot of this is, folks, is online stuff, and I think that if you paid, I'd be willing to pay an extra $10 to $15 more, to be honest with you, if I could walk into a place or meet somewhere and pick something up from somebody and have that, that particular, speed controller or that particular board or that particular frame.
Me too.
Or, hey, I broke an arm on this frame, instead of, waiting a week for it to come to town. And
or more, depending on where it comes from, or if
Plus,
it's
you
China
want to fly
or,
now.
Yeah, and everybody does want to fly right now. Once you get into it, you want to keep flying. I know that with repairs, it's inevitable. You're gonna crash,
Absolutely.
and if you're not crashing, I mean, with a camera drone, they pretty much fly themselves. But in a high performance situation, when you're using acro and stuff, you're gonna crash. And if you're not, you're fucking not flying that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just wanting to be a part of this is it's a big step.
Right.
It
is.
And people who are getting into it, man, it's hard to find. I mean, it's hard to find people that are going to sit down and tell you all their secrets.
They just want to go on, once they get it running, they just want to go out and fly. Are you ready to fly? And if not, they're like, all right, we're going anyway.
But you want that guy, that person there. Like, I know for me, I wanted to get into this because I think it's sweet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to meet people. I wanted to meet other people that are like-minded like myself, that I could potentially have some lifelong friendships out of. And that was something I really wanted. And then I also wanted to be able to see someone in person, look in their eyes and say, I feel like this is a stupid question, what do you think about this? And have them, giving me their opinion.
Right.
And
I could talk for hours about this shit. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. It just sucks you in. I mean, I grew up racing motocross and BMX and skateboarding, and
a lot less dangerous too, as far as your own physical.
Well, so I thought until this past week.
Yep, cutting fingers and cutting legs and shit.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Right.
But you get that adrenaline, just like dirt biking or whatever. You get that adrenaline rush that you kind of haven't had for a while.
Yeah.
And get you.
Sure, absolutely, man.
I think our goal is, though, as far as the business side, is it being Minnesota and being cold. I love it here. I don't want to leave here.
Right.
I would like, we could be successful at this, which I think if we play the cards right, we'll be okay. Get a facility that is big enough at some point, whether we made enough or got investors, where we had the storefront in front, and then the back. We had year-round indoor flying for high performance or down to your micros.
Tiny whoops. Or,
That is where
that's a good idea, man. I think that especially here, man.
Could even put a garage door in there and do an indoor-outdoor. So in the summer you open the door and fly in and out and whatever.
Yeah.
Or in the winter, for all that matters.
I think we need it. I know there's guys that'll rent out. They do have some indoor stuff that happens.
Yeah, there's a couple places around here,
for sure. But it's not, something that you can pay a small membership fee to, or one-time entry fee or whatever. who knows what it'll be to get in, you know, but.
Don't give away all your secrets, though.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody snatching them up off the pocket. Hey, that's a fucking good idea.
That's
you know what? My
exactly-
brother is a real estate agent, and we've got these warehouses. We're gonna
Just give us a call.
yeah.
Seriously, call us up. We'll help
let
you
us
out.
fucking fly at least.
Yeah.
You know, hey, come on in. We'll
Right.
give you a
We'll test
membership.
it out for you.
Dude.
I got some state fair ideas. I'll keep them to
I'll
myself.
crash it
Yeah.
into some shit. So with we're talking about ordinance and with everything. Like St. Bonifacius is one of those places, right? That banned them altogether, right?
Well, so I haven't heard the latest, but they just had a couple meetings in the last couple months.
Sure.
And I think from what I heard, but don't quote me on it, but I think if
Definitely
you're
look
doing
up
it
for sure.
for business, and depending on what you're doing, there's certain ways to fly, but you have to fly in, like from a private or approved private property, or they had some weird ordinance, but they apparently allow it now, where
Sure.
before they didn't allow it at all.
Right.
It was just
So
no drones at all.
So you can actually fly on your property, or if someone gives you permission to fly on their property.
Yes,
Okay.
I think, but I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure.
Definitely
I was
check it out,
busy,
folks,
and
if
I
you-
was gonna try and go to the meeting, and I just, I didn't get the notification in time, and
Sure.
had other stuff come up, so
Right.
I wasn't able to go. But I, wish I could have.
Now you were talking about doing a drone U thing recently, or coming up pretty soon, right in New Mexico or
July
something.
19th, I believe. Yes.
Now, how did you get hooked up with that? Was that something you just found online?
Yeah, through Facebook. I just, I don't know how it popped up, but what's probably been 3 years now, I think it's been.
Yeah.
But just something popped up, said, oh, top 100 join, it's Drone U top 100, it's, whatever, free to join.
Right.
We need 100 people, whatever. So I signed up for it, and then got into that, started learning, and then I kind of went the, video route, and, bought a Phantom and started doing the video stuff, and, learned a lot of, I have to thank them for pretty much all the stuff as far as legal
Yeah.
and all that stuff, that they pretty much taught me everything
Right.
as far as all that. My 107, I studied with their study guide. I have a nighttime waiver, which means I can legally fly at night commercially. Technically you're not supposed to fly at night commercially, so I get all the approval and fill out the application for that. Video, all of that. Later, you're approved, so.
Very cool.
And then now they're doing the first ever fly-in, which I know is 60 people, they're having Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You said it's sold out, right?
Sold out, like, literally within a month, it's sold out. And the New Mexico Albuquerque, set up, and so they're having, obstacle course races and all this stuff, and then they're having video editing classes, photo editing classes, and all sorts of stuff. And just get together and have
Together, man. Seeing these videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
You were just showing me a video of a helicopter pulling a model plane, a nice model plane
Yeah.
too. That was a dope
Yeah.
one with a gas engine.
Yeah.
That was dope.
Yeah, it
dude.
was, yeah.
And
Yeah,
he must
search
have
that video. That
So
thing was
basically,
sweet.
what he probably did is he probably saw those guys coming into airspace and took it down and crashed
Who
into that
knows?
tree
Yeah,
or something.
probably, or
So he's at the top of the trees, and the guy in the helicopter, who after you watch the video, you realize that he tells the guy that he flies them as well.
yeah.
Kind of flies around, and he's telling his co-pilot, he's like, wouldn't he just shit his pants if I went over there and pulled his plane out of the top of these trees, So then they fly over there in a fucking helicopter, a real helicopter, and pull this dude's model plane, his
Out of the top of the tree.
Yeah.
Very
And-
tip top.
yeah, and then fucking bring it down to him and hand it to him. That was so dope.
Yeah, that would be so badass.
But like you said, YouTube is one of those spots where you can find anything on YouTube. You can freaking make DMT for God's sakes on YouTube.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like
Open up
you
your
see
pineal
some of the most amazing shit on there. And
Yeah.
and these videos. I do videos on the podcast and things like that, but these guys really, they're blogging and vlogging and doing all the shit, like, taking pictures of their everyday life, and,
Yeah.
and these cats that they fly with, and just watching them and the camaraderie between all of those guys, like, that's something that I wanted to do. And so when we, Kyle and I hooked up to go flying, and shit, he'll hit me up, 4 or 5 times a week, just going, "What's up, dude? Where are we flying this week?" Or, "Hey, I'm working till this time," or, "I'm charged up and ready to go." Yeah, well, I mean, it's just cool to have other people to fly with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
have your own little crew.
Exactly.
Man,
it's not as motivating going out to the park by yourself and
Yeah.
sitting there and getting all your gear out, and I mean, it's still, don't get me wrong, it's sweet, and I still love to do it, but
Sure.
if you're like, "Oh, let's go meet 4 people or 2 people or whatever," and you're gonna have a get together and do some flying for an hour or two, it's obviously pretty sweet.
Well, other people's skills push your skills too.
Exactly,
And so
that too.
makes you feel better too, that you guys are getting better
did
together.
A flip. Son of a bitch,
Yeah.
Well, that day that you and I and Brandon were there, and all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, Brandon, I can do flips with this thing," and he's like, What would you do?" And I was messing with mine, and I look up and I just see it go whoop whoop, and I'm going, "Oh, there's hope right there,"
Yeah.
So I flip my switch and I go, from angle to acro, like right away, no in between. I couldn't do no flips. I was bummed. It's like, damn, what do I got to do? And he kept saying, "Well, I'll come over and mess with it. We'll bench test it and get everything set up for it."
Which quad was this?
The Torrent. And then
Okay.
I said to him, I'm asking him via text, what do I got to do? Well, we'll just hook it up to Betaflight, and then, well, how do I do that? Okay, you got to go here, do this. And he basically walked me through it, and then got me to the point where I'm like, all right, I got to fucking go on YouTube.
Tried it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then
it's
I'm like, I got
super
it.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because he basically explains everything. I mean, even when we were building the other one, is like, he explained everything to me and showed me, told me what it does. This is what you get. This is the reaction out of it.
Yeah.
So then when we started monkeying with Betaflight, he's like, "Well, I haven't really tuned anything like this, but they're supposed to come out of the box, ready to rip." And I had no idea. I've never even, my receiver or
Well,
anything.
essentially they're supposed to come out.
But we swapped out your transmitter and receiver, so then obviously the transmitter switches weren't set up, mapped correctly, and that's why you needed to plug it in.
But even those little scores. I mean, people who are listening that are new to this, these are the things that springboard you to the next goal in this hobby. It's like when you find something cool. When I flew my Phantom, I wasn't getting cool shots at all. And then I went up north and flew it in my buddy's, over his land, and it was like, holy shit, I got a whole different perspective on what was a good way to look, which way, the sunlight, and, as the day went on and it went down, you get those golden hours early in the day, and then later when the sun's coming down, all the shadows and all the cool shit. It's springboard me into something else that I wanted to do, and then with the Whoop and then the Torrent, and learning every little thing, just even touching Betaflight and kind of, you see it on YouTube all the time, and they're talking about PIDs, and they're talking about, tuning your quad to do all this cool shit.
Right.
Once you are able to have somebody just get you to the fucking, you're at the edge of the diving board, you know what I mean?
What gets me up.
And you're looking down going, this is really high, and this dude behind you is going, it's not that high, you're going into water, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so it's kind of like that, you're springboarding into something cool, and being able to do a flip. When I did the first flip in my fucking goggles, it was like, cheering, by myself, and I'm going, yes.
Yeah, you didn't all of a sudden just see ground. Like you're like, I'm still going.
Yeah,
it's cool.
But then I did acro the other day, and I
were you in
forgot
horizon
to,
mode?
kind of throw it off, like throttle down a little bit as you're turning, because I'm like, you're used to throttling up when you're in horizon, you just flip, and then it's kind of wavering, and you gotta throttle up. But when you're in acro, you fucking hit the turn and you're upside down and you throttle. You're throwing yourself right to the ground.
Well, it's tricky because in acro, it's like you give. And to keep your camera, to make it look like you're staying in one line, it's a little punch of throttle, then you start your flip, then you cut the throttle, and you level out your flip, and then you throttle on again. So it's like, your coordination and time and all that for it to work out, it's totally, it's something to learn for sure.
But again, once you springboard to learning that, you're fucking like,
Right.
Dude,
when you do them like 5 feet off the ground, you'll feel like, hell yeah.
Dude, when I was able to even fucking fly in acro mode without crashing it, I was like, because you kept telling me just go forward, but because it tilts you so much forward, and you're like, just level it off and yourself and be able to turn. And he kept saying, You don't take much, dude. It don't take much. You're gonna go
Yeah.
around
Oh,
the
yeah,
corner.
you barely have to touch it. and
Yeah.
it's-
You're gone.
No.
Yeah. Well, like you're saying with your brother, like
Yeah.
micro movements. Just,
Exactly. It's like you have to understand, like all the flight carry modes that there are. That horizon. You can do acro, but it keeps you in a horizon setting all the time. It'll always position you back to being level.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's level mode, which you cannot do flips. Then there's your acro, where
Yep.
you can roll. You can backflip, front
every
flip.
movement. You
every
can
movement.
control every
Exactly.
movement.
And if you push it forward and you let go of that stick, whatever pitch you pushed it down to, once you let go of that stick,
It's
it
going,
stays
yeah.
in that
Yeah.
pitch. So
Yeah.
people, I think, don't understand that. It's like you're on the sticks and you push forward and you let go and you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to be going that much forward. And then you pull back and
Too
next thing you
hard.
know, you're too hard.
You're-
Yeah,
yeah.
because you're used to like a DJI or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Or
my brother yesterday, he
yeah.
flies in India.
Right.
My first time, I tried to do a flip line of sight with my Martian, and I flew it backflipped it right into myself.
Right.
Yeah, it's super dangerous, and you got to learn these things as you
Well,
go.
and I mean, I guess if you're flying a Phantom or something, I mean, it's still good to learn to fly without a GPS.
Yeah.
Because if your GPS ever fails,
You
you're
gotta be able to do
you're
it. Yep.
SOL.
That was
You
one of
know,
the
Yeah, you want to
first.
bring your quad back.
Dude, that
Yeah.
was one of the
And
first
you
things
can't
you
rely on
told
the
me
GPS.
right away as well.
You know,
Yep.
if you have a solar flare or something and your GPS gets messed up or
Yeah.
whatever, you're fly away, bye bye.
Yeah.
That's why I don't
you
care
know.
what you want to do with the quad. I 100% recommend a Hubsan X4.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something small
sit
like
on your
that.
couch,
Yes.
Yeah.
do some flips, whatever you want to do,
Learn
but just
something.
learn how to fly that thing forward, backwards, left to right.
Yep.
How to hover,
The
like
orientation, because when
Yep.
without goggles on, if you turn it so that the camera is facing you or 180 from you,
Yeah.
the controls are backwards,
Right.
Yeah.
which a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
And when you're in the goggles, forward is always forward, so you don't, it's
yeah,
it's
your
not that
orientation's never a
confusion.
mess.
But then you take your goggles off and you're like, oh, this is easy, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, what do I
Yeah.
do? And then
Yeah.
bam, crash down it goes, or
Sure.
in a tree or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that was
A lot
one of the big springboards for me too. When I watched one video after I bought my X4, I was doing it in the house a lot because I couldn't go. I mean, it was fucking starting to be
30
spring,
below.
so it was I was flying it in the
Okay.
cold. It was no big deal,
Yeah.
but too cold it wouldn't let you fly.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
if it's snowing, you can only fly for so long before you're worried about shit getting in there and
Yeah, or
shutting
wet, or-
something
yeah,
out or doing something.
exactly.
Conformal coating.
So when I got that, the X4 and flying in the house, the video that I found was facing it away from you,
yep.
and just being able to get it off the ground and hover it in the same area.
Sure.
4 by 4 foot by 4 foot, and keeping it in that area. And keeping it faced away from you. Like you said,
Yeah.
forward is forward, right is right, left is left. And just starting with that line of sight, and then once you get in the goggles, it's completely different. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
I felt like I lost the line of sight ability to fly.
Yeah.
I think
After
most
I pulled
people
them out,
do.
I'm like, holy fuck, man,
Yeah.
this is way different than
And-
being right there.
And it's
Yeah.
not, I wouldn't say easier, but it just, you don't have to think about reversing your stick control when you're in the goggles,
Yeah.
because it's just, you're always looking forward.
Sure.
Yeah, it makes everything way more fluid for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a that's a big thing for people that are wanting to get into this hobby and buy something like a Phantom. Yeah, it pretty much flies itself,
Yeah.
And like you said, if you take it, put it into manual mode, and you're flying it around, you're getting the feel of this entire quad at the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And which way it goes, how fast it will go to the left or to the right,
Yeah.
or up or down, or whatever.
But the
And-
Phantoms won't do flips, really. I
Right.
mean, no matter what mode it's in.
I swear there's a Steel video out there where he hacked into the software and put it into a certain manual mode where you could do a full
On
flip.
which model, do you know? Like
It
the
was
Phantom
the it
2
was
or?
no.
Do
it
you
was
know
a
what video
3.
I'm talking about?
I know exactly
There
what
was
you're
a
talking.
buddy of his that lived
He-
in an art gallery.
Yeah, he just switched motors on that one too, didn't he? He had like different motors on it.
Well, I know that he actually,
2 different videos, right?
yeah, I know he actually gutted one and
Right.
kissed it out. And,
Okay.
what I mean by that is kissed, like flight Duino, flight controller, ESCs, whatever. But no, he also, there's a friend of his, he's got a video where the guy lives in an art gallery and he
Yeah,
has
I
a
see that one
Phantom.
too, yeah.
and he wanted to learn how to fly manually, so he went and met up with the guy, and
I mean, don't shy away from it because you hear that price tag. Because honestly, if you think about it, you get what you need that you can you get a receiver that you can use on
And-
smaller things. You can program
Yes.
other things.
yes,
The transmitter,
yeah,
the
yep.
goggles, a lot of that stuff.
You
the
won't grow
batteries,
out of. There's
the
a lot,
batteries.
yeah.
Well, the batteries do go bad over time, but you
I've
can throw
burnt a lot
batteries
up
on.
already.
But you can put them on, a couple different quads. You can
Sure.
use the transmitter on 2 different quads. You can use the goggles on. It's not
Oh, yeah.
buying a new transmitter with. Well, most of the quads, you can, the little more advanced ones, you can use the same remote with.
And that's the thing I had to explain to my wife that didn't know anything about drones when I was all totally 100% immersed. Was, when I say this price tag, she'd be like, well, geez, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
I'd be like, but you have to understand, I'm gonna buy this transmitter once. I'm gonna buy this battery charger once.
Yes.
I'm gonna buy these goggles once.
Yeah.
You know, so
Or
there's
at least for 3 years probably,
Yeah.
or, you know,
Well,
unless
you
something
should be able
dramatically
to
changes.
sell them to somebody
Yeah, right,
and get
exactly.
something back on them
Exactly.
for sure. And so you're not totally just out of pocket all this stuff. And there's great, you know, because technology is moving so fast. There's cheap goggles now. There's
Yeah.
cheaper transmitters now. There's cheaper
Yeah.
chargers now.
And I mean, even and that's like the price tag cheap, not
Yeah.
like quality cheap.
Exactly.
There's, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
goggles
Yeah,
that
thanks
are
for
coming
pointing
out
that
for $80 that you know got a DVR in
Yeah.
them, and, you know, and then you've got, you know, the high end with, you know, what is it, the Amways or what is it?
Amway,
Fat Sharks.
Fat Sharks.
Sharks,
Yeah.
you know.
I got the Fat Shark HD V2s,
And they've got
not the
the-
new ones, the HD3s, but
Yeah.
they're the HD, the first version or
Okay.
whatever. They have the 50-degree field of view, and they're expensive, but
Yeah.
they're nice.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
and
them.
I, you know, it's a scary thing if you really want to get into it. But I, you know, start small, man.
Yeah.
That's where I always
Yeah.
I would suggest anybody to just start small and do a lot of research on what you're doing. There's a lot of great reviews out there. If you find a bird that you like, fucking do a review on it, because there's a ton of them out there, and people will give you
YouTube
know,
it.
yeah, they'll give you a straight shot. They'll shoot you straight on what you're looking for, and if it's not, don't settle for just one. It review a bunch of different ones, because there's so much out there, and,
Yeah.
and it's just growing and
It's
growing.
crazy when you
Yeah.
you know go to a website and type in, you know, drone frames,
Right.
and you get 20 frames or
Well,
something.
well, that one day that
Like,
we were at Hub, and that guy came in, and he got his Mavic taken away, or at least
Yep.
he told us that
Yep.
he did, you know.
Yep.
And he, you know, he had one, and he was asking Brandon about that Breeze or something. It was something like that. They
Oh,
had.
that little white, yeah.
Yeah, the little
Yep.
like selfie drone,
Yep.
you know. And he was asking him, well, what's a good one to buy? And I think that one's still like $100 or more,
Yeah.
isn't it?
For that pocket drone,
Yeah,
little
it's the Breeze,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you're right.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't go very high, and isn't very stable
No.
from what I've seen in any of the reviews
It's
of that
supposed to
stuff.
have altitude hold though,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay,
It
yeah.
does.
It's just not as
but,
good.
You know, Brandon just kind of looked at him and was like, "Nah, that's not the one you want." You know,
Exactly.
it's like you got to do the research, even
Yeah.
if you want to,
Yeah.
you know, mess around with it. It's better to get your money's worth and get you know,
Definitely.
get as much as you want out of that particular
Right.
bird. You know, so
Save your money if you're really thinking about some of this
Yeah.
stuff, because like I said before, you might dump $75 buying the same thing 3 times
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
not as good. Where you
Right.
could have just saved
yeah.
and waited a little bit, bought something better. It's gonna last.
They just
you a
want to fly
heck of a
though.
lot
They
longer.
just want to get on
They
and fly.
do. I know, and I can't blame them. I really
Right.
can't.
I know. I'd say save your money too, and you
Yeah.
know.
That's the hardest thing, because I remember
And
when
if you
you
get the
showed me
bug.
the Whoop first,
Yeah.
and I was like, "How much is this?" And you told me, and I was like, "No way can I buy something like that and feel comfortable." I get sticker shock
Yeah.
no matter what I do,
Yeah.
but buying something that small that I can't fly outside, you know, but I have a bigger one that I can fly outside. I
Right.
just didn't, you know,
Yeah.
it just didn't equate for me. And then when I bought it, I was like, "Oh shit!"
I need more batteries. I'm going to get more batteries.
Yep.
I need
Okay.
more batteries tomorrow again.
Dude, he just says fiend. He'll just text me, "You fiended, dude." Hell yeah.
$500 in batteries.
Yes.
For a tiny whoop.
Just going
No.
crazy. All right, well, we got some more toots. We got a lot of stuff to get to before we get through all of these questions and bullshit that I've got here written down. And more keep popping into my head. I should be writing them fuckers down too. But we've got some Metallica. We picked some Metallica, which is really cool. Some old school
Hell
stuff. We did some. I picked a Yellow Wolf song because I like Yellow Wolf a lot. And then we did some old school Chili Peppers and some Jane's Addiction, which is kind of cool because Dave Navarro played in Chili Peppers for a little bit. So stick around, folks. We'll be back. You know, definitely, folks. If you're getting into this hobby, you know, you want to look at ordinances. You want to check and see. You want to be 5 miles,
Yeah.
5 miles away from an airport. And I mean, I'm right down the street from a freaking airport.
Me
you know
too.
what I mean?
I'm
It's-
literally, I think it's a quarter of a mile from
Yeah.
a pretty big one.
Yeah, it's
Not
just
the
kind
main,
of sketchy,
but,
you know. What I
yeah.
mean? And you want to be safe, and you know, you want to make sure that you're using common sense. You don't want to fucking fly over a park full of kids and
Yeah.
do something stupid or try to scope hot chicks on a beach somewhere. You know, that's
Well,
that's
it
dangerous as
sounds
shit.
pretty sweet,
yeah,
though.
it is
Yeah.
pretty. I mean, come on, you know, everybody wants to, chase some tail or whatever, look at some tail, but
Yeah.
it's like, you know, you're going to get yourself into trouble and
Yeah.
you know, get a lot of other things taken away from everybody
Yeah.
else. So what do you guys, you guys have any sites on, or any, are you subscribed to anything on YouTube, or any specific pilots that you guys like to watch, or any specific blogs or anything like that?
I mean, I don't know, Rotor Riot's always good to watch. You know,
Right.
they always got good stuff.
Right.
But you know, any of those big guys are always fun to watch.
Sure.
Yeah, I follow Stinger Swarm,
Yep.
Joshua Bardwell,
Yep.
Ledrib,
Yep.
Yep.
Rotor Riot,
Yep.
Project Blue Falcon,
I think I have that one too.
yep, Painless 360,
Yeah, they're good.
I don't have that one.
RC Model Reviews.
I have that one. Yep.
Who else is there? Schizo.
Yep.
Um,
God, I love his shit, man.
Yep.
Dude, he's just amazing.
yeah, I like the way he
Dude, his
he
flow is
teaches you how to
amazing.
PID your quads and
Yeah.
stuff. I like
Yeah.
his videos on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, most of those guys. I mean, it's funny because they talk about, you know, when you're watching a certain video and you're like, wow, this is badass, and then they're like, yeah, you know, I've only been doing this for about a year, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not there yet, but I'm saying it's like, yeah. So you can progress fast if you're
Sure,
able
yeah.
to, you know,
Dedicate
put
some
the
time
packs in.
too, and
Yeah.
put some packs in, and
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. Now,
And that-
are there any companies or frames or motors, or you know, what have you, that you guys would recommend, or that you like to use, or that, you know, companies you like to use, companies, you know, you want to potentially hook up with as you're building, you know, this ongoing adventure that you guys are jumping into?
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
there's a bunch. We've reached out to RunCam for
Right.
FPV, you know, your
Yeah.
standard cameras for you to match to your goggles. We also talked to Foxier, talking with Flyduino for the KISS stuff.
DYS.
Yep, DYS. Looking into was it FPVmodel.com? They're the ones that are producing the actual branded Betaflight F3 board.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got the built-in OSD and the PDP already built into it, which is amazing. I'm running the DYS F4 Pro right now on my D-Quad, and that thing it's just awesome because I also run TBS Unified Pro video transmitter, and it's got the smart audio feature, and so I can just move my sticks a certain direction and then look at my goggles on my screen, and it pops up, you know, a whole menu of items to check out, and I can go over to my video transmitter settings and I can change all channel, band, everything.
It's amazing.
Right from the goggles. I mean, no
That's
more
crazy.
I
dip
just saw it
switches. And,
when he put it on the roof that day. That was when I saw it the first time, and it's just, you know, almost not game changer, but it's huge. You know,
It's
you don't
awesome.
need, you don't need a computer to, you know, do half pretty much
adjust your
anything
PIDs,
now. Yeah, you can
everything.
do everything right
Yeah.
from your goggles, basically.
Sure.
So
That's super dope.
Yeah, and then they even teamed up with, because it's open source software, they teamed up with the guys from KISS, so you can actually flash Betaflight onto all the KISS stuff now,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool because...
Oh shit, Gene Simmons is fucking up drone stuff already. Okay, sorry. That was just a huge Facebook thing where he was trying to
yeah, I know.
Oh.
trademark that.
Yeah, I heard
So,
about that.
Sorry.
I didn't hear about that.
No, I just ruined that whole thing. Go ahead.
Oh,
keep
no,
going.
it's
Didn't
all
say
right.
about that.
But yeah, I'm just saying they did that stuff, so you can, the guys that, you know, love the KISS stuff, because KISS has some of the best speed controllers on the market still. Like Betaflight's just releasing 32-bit ESCs,
Right.
which are pretty great, and it's also a closed source project, so the guys should be able to make some money on this one,
Nice.
Right.
which is good for the
Yeah,
hobby, you know, to
yeah, sure.
continue growing it.
Yeah.
And then,
What else? TBS.
but yeah, so that's TBS, and talking to them, talking to the guys from D-Quad to
Yeah.
run the Obsession
Obsession.
frames, because they're just super awesome. And,
Armatan.
Armerton.
Or
Yep,
Armerton.
Armerton. I'm actually holding a Oomph 2206 2300 kV Velvet. It's their freestyle motor, so it's supposed to be pretty sweet. The original Oomph is super efficient, so it's not so hard on your lipos, so
Sure.
it'll last a lot longer. So I'm I'm really
Now, so is
excited.
that the second run of those now? That's
Yep.
their version 2 or whatever.
Yeah, this is like, well, it's a totally different deal. The oomph motor is, the original is just more of a standard 2206. It's up there with like the Brother Hobby T2 Tornadoes or the Zen Fusions.
Sure.
You know, the Lumineers, you know, they've got the comparable ones, but they were, they tend to be more efficient, I think, than a lot of those other ones. You might not
Sure.
get quite the thrust that you would.
Sure.
And they came out with these, it says the same stator and KV, all that, but they have more of a bottom end. You're not going to have that top end. So when you're doing freestyle and you're just wanting to pop over a tree real quick and kind of come down and you want to grab yourself, it's all about them, you know, 30, 40-foot drops and being able to just grab yourself. It's not so much chucking yourself.
Sure.
I mean, they will, but they're more designed for that. And the only other motor on the market right now that's designed for that are the steel motors.
Right.
And they're $28. These are $21.50,
Yeah,
I think. So
Save
yeah,
quite a bit in
yeah.
a set of 4 anyway.
right,
Yeah.
and it's a one-stop shop. So you pick up the Chameleon, you
Yep.
pick these up.
Sure.
You know, pick up,
ESCs,
yeah,
the whole deal.
yeah.
So I mean,
We can build it too, whatever.
The idea behind you guys kind of working on this project together is that you guys are trying to make the higher end stuff more available here in the Twin Cities, you know, or I guess through the internet. You guys want to get things started on there, obviously,
Correct.
and
We want a
offer the
presence.
build status to where. Well ahead. Well, thank you for listening to Ritual Madness Podcast, episode 159. We're hanging out here talking about drones and getting into it. There's a lot of stuff that people need to know when they're getting into this hobby. I would say our consensus here is to start small and work yourself up big. If you've got money and you wanna get something good right away, just be aware that you're gonna crash it, and you're gonna possibly have a failure, possibly have anything can
Pull your
change.
hair out.
Yeah,
If you're not crashing, you're not learning.
yeah, true,
Exactly.
true. And to use common sense and to be safe and make sure that there's no what they say in the drone community is soft targets. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get anybody hurt. You don't want to hurt anybody or damage anybody's property. Because it's bad for the hobby. It's bad for all of us that are trying to have a fun time with this thing. And it's so. I mean, it takes you on that roller coaster. It really is when you get into a pair of goggles and you're flying around and you come over to the top of a tree, or you're looking into the sky and you're doing a flip, and getting into it. It's an amazing feeling. So if you're getting into it, folks, just be careful. Use your common sense. Get things together. We were talking about YouTube before we went to the last break. We were talking about these great pilots that are out here on YouTube and having these channels and showing us all kinds of cool stuff. But if you're getting into it, you don't understand. A lot of times there's two different cameras. A lot of times on those birds that they're using, the high performance birds, and they have the FPV camera, which is what you see in your goggles, and that a lot of times when you see DVR playback, you'll see the lines and the fuzz in it, and you're going in and out of range or behind a tree or behind something, depending on your goggles, using diversity and all this other stuff, and you're going behind these big cement walls and all this other stuff, and then you see the crystal clear video on there. And a lot of people may not understand that they're using another GoPro or the Polaroid Cube or whatever it is,
Mobius
or
or
the
Run
Mobius
Cam.
or Run
Yomi
Cams or,
Me and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
all
there's a bunch.
Yeah, there's a
GoPro
ton.
style
Yeah, there's a
action
ton.
cameras.
and those are the ones that are really taking the footage and having, I've seen some cameras that are just not positioned right. I've seen people just not having them in the right spots and
Tilted right.
Yeah, tilted
Yeah,
right for
bad
sure.
mounts. For sure.
So have you guys had any experiences with any of these cameras?
Yeah, definitely. And in some of that DVR footage that you see too, like sometimes what you're seeing in the goggles is actually better
Yeah,
than what you're
crisper,
watching. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
little
yeah.
cleaner for sure. So it just looks crappy, but you get used to it
Yeah.
as well. It's like that just watching TV when I was growing up. Like I didn't care what
Yeah.
now
Black
it's
and white
super clean.
garbage, yeah.
I'm not that old, man.
Oh, sorry, that's just me.
Yeah, that's just you. It's funny. But yeah, then you use the GoPro. That's what you get your 1080p or your 4K, and
Yeah.
you get that super clean footage, and they can slow it down, speed it up, edit it like crazy. 'Cause trust me, they've crashed a bunch too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the GoPros are, compared to like a Mobius, they're a little better quality, but
Sure.
they're $100 or maybe a little less nowadays. I haven't looked at the prices, but
Yeah,
I have
like
one. And
60, 70 bucks.
okay, so yeah, when I got mine, probably 2 years ago, they were $100, and
Right.
but it's still for, it's lighter than a GoPro for sure.
Right.
And you might get, you'll still get sweet footage. It's just not going to be that 4K
Yeah.
GoPro, quality footage.
Right.
A lot of people can't even play 4K
No, and
anyways.
yeah,
so
exactly.
It really doesn't
So,
really
yeah.
matter.
Right.
You know,
And
1080p
YouTube-
is totally fine.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if you can get your
exactly.
hands on a Runcam 3, it's $100. They discontinued them, but somebody might be selling one online somewhere.
Exactly.
That's a 1080p camera. It's a form factor for a quad. Pick it up.
And you got to remember, you're probably going to crash it and break it at some
Yeah.
point, whether it's the first crash or the second, or
I know I broke my GoPro, that front lens that's on it.
Yep.
Thankfully that's a replaceable item, but
Right.
I actually smushed the whole thing in, so when you pop open where your SD is kept, it was all crunched inside.
Yeah.
They've got an excellent return policy,
Yeah, that's
which that's why I use GoPro.
Yeah.
Because you get that instant return policy, and then if you pay the extra money for the care plan, 2 years, it doesn't matter what's wrong with it. You just go bring it in, so give me another one.
Right. Swap
Right.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's very
I'll
cool.
pay the extra.
Now
for
you
that.
guys, no, Kyle, you have a 3D printer, right?
Correct.
You just brought me a torrent box, one for my torrent,
Yep.
and you've been doing a lot of printing for these GoPros as well,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The
We've
brackets and stuff.
actually got some TPU, which is actually flexible material, plastic, and we've been printing some GoPro mounts for those, and they actually take the impact a lot better than a PLA or
Sure.
ABS plastic, which would just crack or break, and then you got to get a new one. So
Well, what I really like about the D-Quad that we're going to be carrying is that aluminum roll cage that it has. It has cross standoff, so they go from horizontally instead of
Sure.
vertically.
Right.
And they've created a file for a TPU GoPro mount,
Right.
and it's basically like a skin that your GoPro pops into, and then the D-Quad logo gets imprinted into the design when it's printed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then the way it's mounted is it's strapless. You don't need to use a Velcro strap to hold it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you put it in between, the standoffs go through it, so it becomes part of your frame, which
Oh,
is
wow.
awesome. It's just
Yeah.
a permanent thing, and no, you don't have to worry about the Velcro snapping or
Wow, that's
anything.
really cool.
Tighten it down.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Now, is that something that you guys are going to be offering? Is 3D prints,
Yep.
printed parts and
Yep.
stuff? Because I know there's a ton. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
when we got our torrents right away, you had the battery pieces underneath
yeah,
the skid
like a
plates
battery
and stuff.
skid, and
Yep.
yeah, there's all sort. I mean,
You don't
sky's
want
the
those
limit
for
on-
the D-Quad
yeah,
too.
you can get those for the D-Quads too,
Anything
or anything
bottom
with
mount.
bottom mount. It's a good idea.
Oh yeah, for sure. Those light bulbs are
They
just so
come in-
volatile. Yeah.
I've
we-
burned it. I've had a few fires.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't take a whole lot, and we get 2 different size ones. We can print in tons of different colors.
Sure.
So,
Right.
Yeah, a lot of
Very
3D printing. Even if there's a file you find
Yeah.
that's something that works for you that maybe we don't carry, just
send the file
Yep,
over. We can
send
print
it
it out
over,
and
Sure.
yeah.
get you taken
Now,
care
now
of.
what? Now you guys are talking about launching like fairly soon, correct? You guys are getting vendors and getting things put
Yep.
together to where you're going to be able to offer different services, and people are going to be able to go to your website and basically build a quad and have it tested, built and tested by you guys before they even get it, so they can bind and fly.
Yep.
Exactly.
You guys build it, they get it, bind and fly, and they're ready to rip.
Yep,
Right
if that's
right
the
from
service they want, we'll provide that service. We'll get them everything they need. We'll send them, the binding instructions.
Yep,
We'll
yep.
have tutorial links, for them.
Right.
And who knows, there might be some freebies along
Yep,
in the package
sure.
with them too.
Yep.
And we'll have
Stickers for sure.
yeah, we'll have
Definitely.
that. We're also going to do hydro dipping,
Right.
along with 3D printing, and then
Now,
just,
now describe to people what a hydro dip is. It's
So it's basically it's a printed paper or material,
Like a
plastic,
decal kind
yeah,
of,
like
right?
a decal, and then you spray a activator on it, and it basically
adheres to
disintegrates
it, yeah.
the film, and then you're left with like liquid paint basically,
Sure.
and then you dip your part
But the
or
liquid
whatever.
paint is basically the design that you
Yes.
that's on
So you can
the
get
print.
carbon fiber. Right now I'm working with some carbon fiber, some stuff that looks like it's see-through or it looks like water droplets.
Sure.
So you prime, like I just did a battery charger, and I primed the battery charger white,
Right.
and then you dip it with the water droplets,
Sure.
which are black water droplet look, and
Yeah.
it just pops.
And guys,
looks
just
amazing.
just so you know, when you're getting into this stuff, you'll start to see quads that are color coordinated, and people fly
Yep.
certain colors, and they really like that watermelon, or they like the schizo flies, those
I had the
teal
Barney
ones.
frame.
Yeah,
So it was all purple. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, and that's something that you guys can do as well as hydro dip
Yep.
to match somebody's
Exactly.
color scheme,
Yep.
and that
remote controls. I mean, really, we can dip anything that
You
can
can take
be
apart.
submerged in
Right,
water.
right.
That whether it's a transmitter that needs to be taken apart. I mean, ideally, it's cheaper and more efficient to just send the shell,
Yeah.
take it apart yourself, and send it to us. But yes, we can take it apart, do the priming, dip it, clear coat it, reassemble it, test it, and send it out.
I've seen some of the cool stuff that you've hydro dipped. You've got a pair of what are those?
Predator,
the fat
Shark
sharks.
Predator V2s.
Those were dope, dude.
Yeah,
when you
they're
sent
pretty
them,
sweet.
he did them in a like a
Metallic green.
yeah, crazy green, and then did
The sticker bomb.
sticker bomb over the top of it, and it looks super dope too. It pops really good, and then the battery charger. That's
Yeah.
something that. I mean, dude, you have a cool color scheme that you really like, and that's what you're rocking. I mean, it's like a full personalized deal
Exactly.
for you.
That's
know
what
what I'm
it's
saying?
about.
Yep.
Personalize
Yeah,
all your
man.
stuff to your personality. You
Yeah.
know, like pimp it out,
Yeah,
modify
exactly.
it. You know, everybody loves that.
Fuck yeah, man! If you can do it cool too, and
Yep.
and I'm sure you guys are you're gonna show what patterns
Oh
and
yeah.
shit that you offer, right?
Yeah, we'll have a whole online catalog of what we can do and pictures and stuff like that.
Dude, you know what you guys should do is when you're building the website, how like you go to fucking a car dealership, and you can see you just slide the color and it changes all the colors and the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
that's a
yeah,
cool
you
idea.
just click
Change
that
the-
fucking
all
arrow
the-
and it goes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
throws
Just
it all
holds
there.
the image.
Carbon fiber,
yeah,
and then the
yeah.
flames, the skulls, or
Yeah,
whatever
dude,
you want to
that
do.
would be
Yeah.
super dope.
That is.
Oh, yeah,
that's a good
that's
idea.
awesome.
I think that customization is key too, especially in a hobby like this, because
Oh, yeah.
everybody will buy a specific kind of frame. If it's a cool frame, people start buying that same
Yep.
frame, or they
Yeah.
get the clone of it or something. But to be able to color scheme it out, get some cool props, get some color
Oh, yeah.
scheme. Because when we got the torrents, like as soon as I was crashing into that grass, I was like, "Fuck, man!"
Yep.
It's a white shell. It's got
There it
white
goes.
props on it. I'm like, "Oh god, this is horrible." And then I seen
Yeah.
you get your blue one, and then Brandy got all black. His is
Yeah,
all
and they
blacked out.
give,
It's like, damn.
in stock they have, they try and make it, different too by offering, yellow, blue,
Sure.
the different color stock, but it's still, I
But you guys
right
can go
away and
one
dipped
step.
my shell,
Yeah.
I took my white shell and primed it and dipped that with, a sticker bomb, and now
Yeah.
my Torrent has a, custom shell on it. And
Sure.
my Tiny Whoop, I did the same thing with the Tiny Whoop. I
Right.
did a skull shell on that one,
Yeah.
and the frame actually on the Tiny Whoop, I dipped that one too. So I mean,
I seen
you
you
can,
one of the receivers that you did
Yep.
as well.
Yep. So I mean, there's just
A Phantom
endless-
receiver too, wasn't it?
Yep, Phantom. I mean, I've done a DX6i. I'm gonna work on a Tyrannus next. I mean, there's just the possibilities are endless.
Sure.
Battery chargers. I mean, even the 3D printed stuff can be hydro dipped. So I mean, if somebody wants a custom case or a custom whatever mount, and then they want it carbon fiber or a certain color,
Sure.
we can dip that too.
Well, so here's the question. Now you guys are just about to, you're kind of gearing up and getting things and vendors put together and everything. If somebody wanted to contact you right now, how would they be able to contact you to get any kind of services that you guys offer right now?
We're on Instagram. I think we got a Facebook page. I'm pretty sure there's one. I think I set it up.
You get that?
Yeah, I've had some
Kyle's in charge
long
of
days
social
and
media.
Yeah.
long days and late nights working my
me
day
too.
job, trying to catch
Right.
up and trying to do this on the side. So,
Yeah. We're
but we
both
got
trying to
Instagram,
cram it all in.
QuadStyle RC on Instagram, Facebook. What else do we have? We have an email set
Yep.
up.
Go ahead and email Josh JOSH .wells WELLS at QuadStyleRC.com, if you have some products you'd like us to check out, possibly host on the website when we get it launched here, we're more than willing to take a look at it and see what we can do.
Yep. And then the other email we have is QuadStyleRC@gmail.com. And hopefully we'll get, actual emails once we get our website launched that are, Kyle at.
Well, we just gotta add yours.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
all. I just gotta
we'll
add
just
yours.
add mine, and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So
Awesome, dude. And then, can they get a hold of you guys on Facebook, like your personal pages?
Oh
or
yeah,
anything like that,
definitely,
too?
definitely.
Yeah.
Mine's locked up at the moment, but I'll open it up soon.
Yeah, mine's open, and I'm on Superior Aerial Solutions. You can find me on that Facebook page.
Yep, you can
too,
find
but-
it on.
but
you
I
can
probably-
find that on my Ritual Madness podcast page as well. There's
Nice.
right on the right side. You can click that icon, and it'll bring you right to get a hold
And
of
that's
you.
what I've been doing my
Great.
repair stuff out of. But once we get geared up and going the other route, I'll probably just kind of switch everything over
Sure.
to QuadStyle and just run it all out of the same thing. And
Right.
Hell yeah, for sure, man.
It's gonna be badass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we're
that's really
excited.
cool, man. And you guys have the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like the spirit of making this experience better for other people. You know what I mean? Just by the model of what you guys are, the base where you're at right now, and the ideas that I've heard come out of you guys off the air and in personal conversations. I think that you guys are onto something, and you're gonna push forward. And I think it's gonna be beneficial for guys that are new and want to get those bind and fly quads that are built
Yep.
and tuned the right way, ready to rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
I
key.
mean,
So
And we're not trying to turn away pros or anybody else either. I mean, we're definitely here to cater to everybody, not
Right.
just the beginners or the
Yeah.
newbies. I mean, we'll sell parts or assemble for anybody, whether it's
Sure.
anybody. I mean,
You want to build it yourself, just
Yeah.
pick out what you
Yeah,
want.
pick out what you want.
Yeah.
We'll send you an ESC 1, 10, 5,
Right.
whatever you want, and we'll
Yep.
send it.
If we got it in stock, we'll ship it to you
Yeah.
if you give us the cash.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely, man. Well, that's very cool, man. I'm excited. So what are you shooting for to get things going? You got a month or two, or
I'm
hopefully
thinking,
a month maybe.
Hopefully a
end of
month.
July, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm thinking sometime in July. We don't have an exact date as of yet. There's a lot of logistics still
Yeah.
going on, but we're moving forward, and we're letting people know because it's for real.
I have a funny feeling that I'll be posting this stuff all over the place.
I hope so.
Making sure
Hopefully,
everybody
We
knows.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely
we do.
I'm all about that. Plus, we're gonna be flying together.
Oh, yeah,
anyway,
definitely.
So I'll be pushing it and wanting to.
Burn those packs.
I'll be wanting to build one of the chameleons.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have two, so you'll be able to try one.
I'm excited,
Yeah.
man. I'm really excited. And you guys are talking about possibly doing some build videos as well, and kind of
Definitely,
getting some ideas out there for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And buying video, just random
Sure.
videos that, maybe there isn't a ton of videos out there on
Right.
certain things or,
Yeah.
whatever, or just more random, videos on newer products or
Yep.
upcoming products and stuff like that.
Yep, new releases, absolutely. If we get our hands on some new products that we
Send them
feel
to
are
us.
worth it,
Yeah.
send them over. We'll check them
definitely
out.
Test them out for
Let
you.
everybody know what we think. But yeah, absolutely. We want to give you as much information as we can to make this process easier for you, because I know when I was going through it, I'm sure when all you
yeah.
guys were going through
yeah.
it, there's just, and I hear all these terms and I see all these videos, it's almost like overload, and it's like you don't even grasp it. And then
Exactly.
once you start to do it, you're like, wait a minute, God, I really thought that was something crazy, but it starts
Yep.
to flow. So we want to help you get that to flow a little quicker.
Absolutely. Badass. Very cool. Very cool. Like I said, folks, I think we're gonna talk about doing some more podcasts as well. So we're gonna be, incorporating all the stuff that they're doing and as much information as we
Yep.
can possibly do. Get it
We're up
over
for
on
that.
YouTube.
That sounds awesome.
So stay tuned, folks. Make sure that you're paying attention.